Don't worry, you get used to it. 1, 2, 3. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. This is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. Also, remember, check out Commanding General YAHANNA's radio show, which is Monday, 2 a.m. UK time. We have classes. We have classes in the UK. Monday, the history class. Tuesday, the brotherhood class. Wednesday, the law class. Thursday, the scripture breakdown class. Friday, we have the radio show on the end. Also, there's a class which is premiered and live streamed from Manchester. So you can watch that one also. And then after that one's from 7 till about 8:30. Then you got the radio show. And then the Saturday, you got the Sabbath service. So we've got a busy schedule in the UK. Feel free to log in classes, get up in the school, leave your name, ask you questions, and so forth. Any scriptures you've been reading you don't understand, any breakdowns you want, so forth. Anything you want understanding on, call the school and so forth. So give me 1 second. So now we're going to start off in the book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 12. It says, as for my people, children are their oppressors. Now, this is talking about who's our oppressor? The white man. And he's a child, meaning he's very childish, man. He's childish. His antics, everything about him is childish. His justice system, everything he does is childish. And they rule over us. And they've been ruling over us for so much years that now we do everything that they do. We do everything that they expect us to do. That's what we do, man. Whereas we was a people that had morals, that had standards, that had understanding, that had brotherhood. And then now, because we're learning from our oppressor, all those things have gone out the window. There's no more brotherhood in the black community. There's no more love, and there's no more all of us sticking together no more. Why? Because we're learning from our oppressor. Whereas his whole mission is what? To divide. And then we've followed him. And then we've divided ourselves from our brethren, man. You got Handsworth versus Newtown and so forth. Moss Side versus Longside. Peckham versus Brixton. Like now, we're fighting over something so small, a postcode, man. Meanwhile, we came over here and couldn't even get jobs. England, this ain't our homeland and this ain't our rest. We're just here for a matter of time, man. Serving out the air, finishing of our slavery. And then we're going back to our land, which is what? The land of Israel, man. The land of milk and honey. The glory of all lands. That's where we from. If you sin Israel, the glory of all lands, you'd look at the postcode like, I'm fighting over this garbage. I'm fighting over this filthy postcode. Listen, man, we need to stop listening to our oppressor. That's the only way we're going to stop killing each other. That's the only way we're going to stop harming each other. That's the only way we're going to stop robbing each other and hating each other and oppressing each other. When we stop listening to our oppressor, because why? He oppresses us. Our oppressor oppresses us. And then what do? We start to oppress other black men, which makes no sense. Which makes no sense, man. This devil oppressing us should make us come together, man. And we should see a brother and be like, you know what? What you're going through, I'm going through. Just remember every black man that you see and you're ready to go to war with him and fight him over nothing, just over a look. Just understand this, man. The same battle that you have is the same battle that he has. He's also dealing with this devil, man. He also can't find a job. He's also poor. He's also struggling, man. His father also left the house also, man. He's also living where you're living, which should make us see each other, man. Meaning when you see a black man, you're meant to see a mirror of yourself, man. You see him and he sees you. You're meant to look at each other and be like, you know what? We're going through the same thing. But what do? We take out that aggression on each other, man. Instead of us doing things the right way, using all this oppression for us to come together, we use it to do what? Harm our brothers, man. And then what happens? One man then ends up going to jail. One man ends up going to the cemetery. That's right. and none of us win, man. Whereas we could come together and we could win. We could win, man. We don't need to let this devil divide us. We don't need to let him destroy us. Like, we watch all his movies and watch his way of life and so forth. We watch the mafia and how they do drive-by shootings, and we want to be just like them, man. When we better than them, if only we knew who we was. And this is why you need to come to the I.S.U.P.K, man. Imagine your whole life you've been walking around in the dark, man. You've been walking around in the dark. You can't see where you're going. You can't see nothing. And then you see a bit of light. You're supposed to go to that light, man. You know what is the light? The I.S.U.P.K, man. That's right. You've been walking around in darkness for what? All them years that you've been living. And now you're finally seeing a little bit of light, man. And that light is the I.S.U.P.K. That's right. Which has the answers, which has the way, man. Let's read on. As Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. And our paths are destroyed, man. You know why? Because the people that rule over us give us the wrong counsel, man. Says women rule over us. So what happens? Our oppressor does what? To keep black men down. He gives women a position of power. And with that position of power, guess what they should do? They should use that to help black men. They should use that to help black men, man. Why? Because we're one nation, man. In the New Testament, it says in the book of Galatians, man, no male, no female, man, meaning what should we do? We're all one in Christ, so what should sisters do? This devil gives them a better position than black men. Use that position to help black men, man. Don't use it to further oppress men. This is the thing. In our nation, we're having a battle of the sexes, man. We're battling with postcodes, the battle of the sexes. Every day you turn on the TV, niggas ain't shit. Every day you turn on the TV, black men saying black women are whores, this and that. When really, we need to reason together, man. Like it says in the book of Isaiah, man. Like the Lord said, let us reason together. We need to reason together, man. So we can iron out the differences, right. Work out where we went wrong, and come together, man. And it starts here. Now, the thing is this, man. If we all come together and do it, it starts here. Now, for years, people have spoke about black people coming together, but they've never put nothing there for us to come together. And the I.S.U.P.K is here where we can come together, man. That's right. We got the building, we got the food drive, we got the council, we got everything, man. This is the place where black people should come and reason, man. Bring all your reasoning here so we can work out what is right for black people. What's the correct thing for black people? We can work it out, man. Drop that. Give me Hosea chapter 4 and verse 1. So we're going to go to Hosea 4 and verse 1, man. And also we're going to go into the life that you grow up in. That doesn't have to determine the outcome of your life, man. Meaning you grew up and your mom was on drugs and life was hard. You don't need to go down that road, man. You don't need to go down that road. There's a different way, and we're going to go into that a little bit later on, man. Like every black and Hispanic man and woman has grown up in some form of struggle, man. Some more than others, but as a nation, we go through it, man. And we're supposed to fight this battle. We ain't supposed to say, you know what? Well, you know what? My mom was on drugs and didn't care about me. My mom was this. My father left, so I'm just gonna go rob and kill everybody. Listen, you growing up poor doesn't give you the right to go and rob your brothers, man. That's right. You growing up poor doesn't give you the right to be a menace to society, man. It don't give you the right, man. But because we're ruled over by our oppressor, and the movies that we have on TV shows us, you know what? You've grown up there, you know, in a broken home. So you're hurt, so hurt everybody else. It doesn't have to be that way, man. How about you come to the I.S.U.P.K and get healed, man? How about you come to the U.P.K and get healed, man? That's what we're doing here, man. We heal brothers, man. Give me Hosea chapter 4 and verse 1.
Hosea 4 and 1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
Hear the word of the Lord, man. The Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, man. Go ahead.
Because there is no truth.
Because there is what?
No truth.
There's no truth in the land, man. The only place you get in truth is where? From the I.S.U.P.K, man. That's right. Outside of here, there is no truth in the land. Go ahead.
No mercy.
No what?
No mercy.
No what?
Mercy.
No mercy, man. Black men don't have mercy on other black men no more, man. We don't have mercy on one another. In this land, there's no truth. There's no mercy. And this is why we die so much. And this is why we kill each other. Why? Because we don't know how to have mercy on one another.
That's right.
A brother does a wrong, and what's the first thing that comes to our mind? Let me go kill him. Whereas we should have mercy, man. And the Lord's got a controversy with the inhabitants of the land because there's no mercy. Go ahead.
Nor knowledge of God in the
what?
land. Nor knowledge of God in the land.
No knowledge of God in the land. Most people don't even know their nationality, man. Most people are walking around still celebrating Christmas, still celebrating Easter and all of them things. There's no knowledge of God in the land, man. And the reason there's no knowledge of the Most High in the land, why? Because we ruled over by our oppressor, who don't want you to know that there is a God for you, man. Who doesn't want you to know that the black man has a God?
That's right.
So we're walking around thinking, you know what? It's us against the world. No one cares. No one loves us. And then what happens? Once you believe no one cares about you and no one loves you, what do? You start to self-harm. You start to harm people around you. You start to be a menace. You start to hold such little regards for your life and anybody else's life. You end up taking somebody else's life. And all these things is what? Weapons of our oppressor, man.
That's right.
He don't want you to know that the knowledge of the Lord. He don't want you to know that the circumstances you was born into, you need to battle, man. And there's a way other than crime and murdering your brother and being a drug dealer and taking drugs. There's other ways. But without you knowing the knowledge of the Lord, guess what? You're going to go down that route. Go ahead.
Nor knowledge of God in the land, by swearing and lying and killing.
By what?
Swearing and lying and killing.
By swearing and lying and killing. And that's what we've become, man. Liars and killers and thieves and so forth. We've become everything that we wasn't supposed to be. Why? Because we ruled over by our oppressor.
That's right.
And the reason with all these things, why? Is because there's no knowledge of God in the land. So what do? Kill everything that comes in our way, harm everything, harm everybody. Go ahead.
And stealing.
And what?
Stealing.
And now we've become thieves, man. Stealing. And why do we steal? Why? Because we're less fortunate than everybody else. So once we see one of our brothers or sisters has got something, got a little bit of money or whatever, nice ring, a Rolex, we plot on how to steal from them, man. We plot on how to rob them when that shouldn't be the way, man. That shouldn't be the way. We plot on how to rob them. How, you know what? That's a nice watch he's got. I'm going to make it mine. Why? Because we're poor, man. And why are we poor? Why? Because we're in captivity. Our oppressor make sure you're poor. He make sure you have a terrible education. He make sure you have a criminal record. And that's why your criminal record, whatever you do stays on your criminal record, man. Even they used to tell you that it comes off after 5 years, and it doesn't, man. It stays in your criminal record. So now when you apply for a job and they do a DBS check, they can see, you know what, you was arrested for this and arrested for that. And listen, man, our oppressor is the devil, man. Listen, the Lord in the Bible says what? If you repent, you've got a clean slate, man.
That's right.
He says he won't remember your transgressions, whereas this devil remembers your transgressions, man.
That's right.
He puts them on your DBS. So when you apply for a job, you can't even get a job, man. Even if you've changed your life around, you still can't get a job because this man doesn't wipe your record clean, whereas the Lord does, man. We've been giving this man too much trust, which he doesn't deserve, man. All he showed us is a horrible way of living and destroyed us. And now, because he's destroyed us, we now destroy one another. And then they just sit back and just look at their handiwork. Like they look at us like them black men are our handiwork, man. Look at them just destroying each other like that. Look how they can't come together. Look how they're shooting each other. Look how they're robbing each other. And they sit back and they love it, man. And this is why we need to stop killing each other, man. There's other ways about things we can sit down and reason, man. You can bring it to the priest, and the priest will decide who's wrong and who's right. And guess what? Both of you will go home to see another day, man. None of you won't go to jail. You'll both go home to see another day. One of you won't go in the grave. You will both go home to see another day, man. Why? Because the Lord gave us wisdom and understanding, man. The Lord gave that to Israelites, man. We know how to deal with situations. But when you got this oppressor in the way, we've learned his way of how he deals with things.
That's right.
Whereas killing ain't our thing, man. That's their thing. But read on.
Adultery.
What? Say that again.
Adultery.
Adultery, man. And listen, man, that's what we've become, man. Go ahead.
They break out, and blood toucheth blood.
And listen, man, murder on top of murder. That's what happens, man. Murder on top of murder. Why? Because we ruled over by our oppressor, man. And now blood touches blood, meaning what? Murder on top of murder, man. This is why you think the crime rate is so high? Like, we the only people who what? Die before we reach what? 25. We the only people who have to worry about that. Whereas every other race worries about what? What university they're gonna go, what degrees they're gonna get. And we just trying to stay alive, man. We look at life like, you know what? We're gonna be dead by the time we're 25. Meanwhile, no other nation goes through that, man.
That's right.
They're going through, you know what? I'm gonna be a doctor at 25. I'm gonna graduate at this age. Meanwhile, us, we're looking at, you know what? I might not be alive then, but I'm gonna do all the crazy stuff I can do before I die. I'm gonna live fast and die young. That's the mentality that we've got, man. And that ain't the mentality we're supposed to have. Go ahead.
Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Yet
Actually, jump to verse 6.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
And the Lord said his people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And the knowledge that we're lacking is the truth, man.
That's right.
Like, from the foundations, we've been raised incorrect. The thing is this. Now, our parents did what? Raised us wrong, man. Why? Because their parents raised them wrong.
That's
Why?
right.
Because their parents raised them wrong. So now what do we need to do? Break the cycle, man. Now you know where your parents went wrong. You need to come in here and break the cycle. How do you break the cycle? By learning the knowledge that the Lord's talking about. And then you pass that down to your kids. Then they will pass it to their kids. Then they will pass it to their kids. And then that's how you break the cycle, man. Whereas if we don't do that, we're going to keep going around in circles. And the foundation is going to stay the same, that what? We grow up, do whatever we want, break all of God's laws, die young, and then wonder why. Wonder why we die so much. Wonder why we're in jail so much. Until one of us breaks the cycle, man. So you need to take the stand today and break the cycle.
That's right.
So your kids don't have to be raised the way you was. So you don't make the same mistakes that your parents made. You can break the cycle, man, and keep it going. And then your grandkids won't go through what you went through. And then their kids won't go through what you went through. And then when time comes around and you come back, you might be born back into that same family, being taught the same things that you taught to them, man. So forth. That's what we need to do, man. Well, obviously, we've just been taught, you know what? Think about yourself, live fast, die young, go to the club and pop Don Julio bottles every weekend, spend your drug money in the club, sell drugs so you can go to the club. That's all we've been taught, man. We ain't been taught the knowledge of the Lord, man. Go ahead.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Because what?
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
We've rejected knowledge, man. We've rejected the truth. Now, the only thing that can save blacks and Hispanics is the truth, man. And we've rejected it. We've turned our back on it. We don't want to hear it. We be like, oh, what was the men yelling on the corner? I don't want to listen to them. I ain't got time for them black men on the corner. They're just shouting. We've rejected that knowledge, man. Listen, man. The Lord sent light in the midst of darkness, man. And the light is the I.S.U.P.K. And you walking away from us is you turning away from the light, man. Which means you ain't going to find out where you're going wrong. Why? Because you're in darkness, man. So you need the light so you can see, man. And the light is the truth. Go ahead.
I will also reject thee.
Double what?
Also reject thee.
So now we rejected the Lord's knowledge, man. Now the Lord's what? Rejected us. And now guess what? You're in England, man.
That's right.
In England, dying in every ghetto, man. Now you're in England, dying in every single ghetto. In Peckham, Brixton, so forth. Being shot, being stabbed. Dying in every ghetto, man. Why? Because we rejected the knowledge of the Lord. And now the Lord's rejecting us. And it shows, man, by our life. Our life shows that we've been rejected until you come in here and change your life, man. You're going to continue to be rejected. You're going to continue to see more death, destruction, live a horrible life, and so forth. Read on.
that thou shalt be no priest to me.
Once upon a time, we was priests, man. And what are we now? Gangbangers in every ghetto, man.
That's right.
Drug dealers in every ghetto. Murderers in every ghetto. Criminals in every ghetto. That's what we've become, man. We went from priests to what? Criminals, man. Our men have gone from priests to gangbangers to murderers. Our women have gone from what? Sisters to bitches, excuse my French, man. Our women have gone from being down sisters to now bitches. That's how far we've changed, man. We've changed position, man. We've gone from priests to criminals and murderers, and our sisters and daughters who we're supposed to love and protect have turned into monsters, man. Why? Because we reject the knowledge of the Lord. So now we've been rejected by the Most High, so that we ain't no priest to him, man. Go ahead. Actually, you can drop that. Give me Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 1. Now, our parents tried their best, man. They done the best of what they could do. Like, they done the best of what they knew how to do, should I say. Whereas now, we've got a better understanding, man. What we learned from our parents was incorrect. So what do we need to do? Come into the truth and find a new way, man. Give me Jeremiah 17 and verse 1.
Jeremiah 17 and 1. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron.
Listen, man. The sin is engraved, man. That's what that's talking about, man. It's written with a pen of iron, man. Meaning it's engraved in. Go ahead.
With the point of a diamond.
With the point of a diamond, man. Meaning it's engraved, man. Go ahead. It's burnt in and so forth. The sin, man, of Judah is burnt in, meaning what we do is sin, man. Break God's laws and glorify it, man. Break God's laws and glorify it like it's funny, like it's a joke. Like usually when you do something wrong, you're supposed to be ashamed, but people know they're doing wrong and they're ashamed of it, man. They say it proudly. Imagine a black man say, yo, I've shot 10 niggas. That's not something you should be proud of, man. You're proud that you've killed 10 of your brothers. There's nothing to be proud of, man. Like, you should be ashamed, man. Praying the Lord forgives you, man. You shouldn't be going out there bragging, talking about another notch on my belt and this and those things. And check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard. Who's winning on the scoreboard? That's what we've become, man. Our sin is engraved with a iron tip. Go ahead.
And it is graven upon the table of their heart.
Listen, man. This is engraven on the table of their heart, man. All in our mind is what? Sin and transgressions, man. Every day we think, yo, how are we going to break God's laws? Now, most people don't know. In our mind, it's like, how are we going to break God's laws? How are we going to break them today and so forth? All we want to do is break God's laws every single day. Why? Because we ain't been taught to keep them. So this is why we have classes, man. That's teaching right. You how to keep them. And it's not hard, man. You just come in here, learn. Because one day we was out there breaking God's laws, doing whatever we wanted. And then we had to come in and we had to learn, man. All right, I can't do that no more. I can't do that no more. Like before you find the truth, you think, damn, everybody's dying and you don't understand why. And then once you come in, you understand, okay, our life is, we going the wrong way about certain things. Maybe we need to change this. Maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need to do that. And then you start to learn, you start to take notes. And then each time you be like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And you be at peace with yourself, man. You can walk in any neighborhood. Imagine being a gang member and you only can walk in one neighborhood, man. The thing is this, outside of these doors, your friends don't really love you, man.
That's right.
You think they do. And then when you die, guess what happens? None of them don't even donate to your GoFundMe, man. None of them don't put no money into your GoFundMe. But you're thinking, yeah, they're real. They're my brothers. They're going to back my case. They get back gang. Listen, man, they ain't going to do time in jail for you, man. They ain't going to do that, man. That's why you should come in here where there's real brotherhood, where brothers truly do love you in here, where brothers know how to love you. Outside there, they don't know how to love you, man. What they'll do is they'll have sex with your woman, They'll rob you and so forth. They'll do all manner of evil to you. Because why? They don't know how to love you. They're incapable of loving you. And most of us, what? Join gangs. Why? Because, we grew up in a certain area. And then, to be fair, most, especially in the UK, most men didn't really, there's no joining process. You just grow up as kids and it just turns into a gang. Before you know it, you just grow up as kids and then over time you're labeled as a gang and then you go with it. When really, man, we ain't no gang, man. We're brothers, man.
That's right.
I should be able to go to the other side of the city and no harm should come my way. I should be able to go to the other side of the city and shouldn't have to tuck my chain in. Why? Because them black men are my brothers, man.
That's
I'm
right.
supposed to see them and feel at ease and be like, you know what? I feel safe because I can see my brothers over there. Though we've never met each other, us being the same nationality gives us an understanding. The only way you get that understanding is what? By being in the truth. That's why we can go to America and see millions of brothers from America, man, from Puerto Rico, from Brazil, and ain't nobody gonna get robbed in there, man, because we're brothers, man. That's the understanding that we need all over this earth, that I should be able to go to any city and a brother should see me and understand, you know what? We all got the same forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're relatives. We ain't gonna harm each other, man. Even though we've never met each other before, but we've got that common understanding that we're brothers. That's what we need back in the black community, man.
That's right.
Instead of where you from, instead of, yo, what you doing around here? You shouldn't be around here. Listen, man. We're meant to welcome one another. Welcome one another, man. Find out about each other's neighborhood, man. Because we're brothers, man. And you know what the sad thing about it is? All these different gang members, guess what? They all like the same kind of music. They all like the same kind of things.
That's right.
And then once they do get older and sit down, they realize, you know what? We're all actually the same. They realize we're all actually the same. We like the same things. We're the same type of person. But we let our oppressor divide us, man. We let him put a divide in the middle, Handsworth, Newtown, when that divide doesn't need to be there, man. It's for us to remove that divide.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Khan, and upon the horns of your altars, whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills, O my mountain in the field.
And listen, man. These children remember the altars and the groves by the hills, man. Meaning what? These children learn from their parents, and now we're doing what? Worshipping Allah, man. You know how much black men are celebrating Ramadan right now? Tons of them, man. How much do you see crept on the picture with his baby? Listen, man. This is a product of learning nonsense, man. Now, if your parents are Muslim, man, now that you've found the truth, you need to go tell them, yo, we shouldn't be Muslims. And you follow this, man, because this is the truth. Obviously, still your parents, but this is the truth, man. You don't follow the lies that they taught you to follow, man. You follow the truth and don't allow your children to be Muslims. And the thing is this, man. Being a Muslim is no different to being an atheist.
That's right.
You know why? Because Muslims and atheists do exactly the same thing.
That's right.
Atheists smoke weed, Muslims smoke weed.
That's right.
Atheists sell drugs, Muslims sell drugs.
Right.
Atheists deal with underage girls, Muslims deal with underage girls. What is the difference, man? What is the difference? Now, how can you tell me that you've found a religion and everything in your religion is the same thing that you was doing before you found this religion? There's no changes. So you mean to tell me you was a drug dealer before you was a Muslim and you're still a drug dealer now? What's changed? Ain't no change. Ain't nothing changed, man. Read on.
O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. Even thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
And now, we ain't been raised right. You know why? Because we've discontinued from our heritage, man. We don't know who we are as a people. We don't know what laws to follow. We don't know what to eat. We don't know how to treat each other. We don't know nothing. You know why? Because we've discontinued from our heritage. So now, we just take a gamble, man. We just go along like, we're just trying to get by. We just go along with what we think is right. Why? Because we've discontinued from our heritage, man. We don't do things the way our forefathers did. We're doing things a different way. And the way that we're doing things ain't working, man. It's not working. Why do you think we're dying so much, man? Why do you think we're in jail so much? Because we've discontinued from our heritage. And what? We just following a sinful man. We following a sinful man thinking, yeah, we're going to do things this way. And then the way parents do things, they pass it down to their children, and their children does things the same way. And then when their children has children, they do things the same way. And then it's a cycle of us just destroying ourselves and destroying our children. Whereas now it's time that we take a stand and we say, you know what? Okay, we got it wrong. It's time for us to change our ways and find a new way, the right path. Go ahead.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
We discontinued from our heritage that the Lord gave us, man. And we discontinued from it. Why? Because we want to deny the truth, want to deny the knowledge of the Lord, man. We want to act like this Bible ain't a black man's book. We want to say, oh, it's the white man's book and walk off and cover our ears and don't want to hear. We want to put headphones on every time the Bible comes out. We don't want to hear, man. We've rejected the knowledge of the Lord, man. Whereas we giving you your heritage back. We giving you how to raise your children back, man. We giving you the right paths back. We giving you the old ways back. The Bible says, seek the old ways, man, the old path. And we found the new path. And on this new path, we're being destroyed, man.
That's right.
On this new path, we're dying by the millions. By the millions and the thousands on this new path. Why? Because we on a path that we're not supposed to be on, man. We on a mission that we're not supposed to be on. So we're dying. And it's going to keep happening that way. Us dying is supposed to be a sign that we're doing something wrong. Us dying is meant to be a sign that, okay, then, we're not living right, man. Us selling drugs and going to jail for longer than every other nation is a sign that maybe we shouldn't be selling drugs. It should be a sign, man. But the Lord's giving us all these signs, and what happens? We don't want to take heed, man. You got the coronavirus going on. Now, the country opened back on Monday, and what's the first thing everybody wanted to do? Go to the pub. No, listen, the Lord gave you the coronavirus as a sign to get your life right. And the first thing everybody wanted to do as soon as the country opened up, go to the pub and have a pint. They even said on the news that cocaine sales is going to be through the roof because people ain't had coke and a pint in like a whole year, man. And now them figures is about to come out that cocaine was through the roof, man. And if you know anything about cocaine, it's a white man drug, man. They usually do it, man, in the clubs with all the speed and high off their face and so forth. That's their drugs, which now we've started to do. It's not a black man's trait for him to put a line of coke on something and sniff it, man. That's not a black man trait. We've learned that from heathens, man. All these pills, what is it, MDMA? All these pills, MDMA and horse tranquilizer and all of them things is oppressors drugs that they take, man. They take them drugs to have a good time at a party where they're sweating profusely, man. They'll be sweating profusely, man. Puddles all over, man. And that's a good time to them. Doing all the balloons, blowing the balloons, all of that nonsense. Those things ain't for us, man. These is things that you've learned on a new path. You've learned this on a path that you shouldn't be on. We need to seek the old paths, man. Because these new paths is just going to kill you, man. You're going to die in these new paths. Go ahead.
Come. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And now, where are we? In a land which we know not, man. Serving our enemies. By you serving your enemies, it should let you know we've done something wrong. Now, are you tired of serving your enemies? Are you tired of being a slave, waking up to go work 9 to 5 for hardly any money? Tired of being on the bottom of society? Tired of being on the bottom? Then we need to change our life, man. Or we're going to stay right here serving our enemies. While we serve our enemies, man, they're all rich and they're all getting rich. They're all flourishing. They're running the whole earth. They're driving 2021 plate Teslas and so forth, man. Off of slave money. They set up businesses and banks off of slave money, man. They set up their banks and the loan that they give you today. That was slave money that they made off cotton, man. You built up this country, and guess what? you don't reap the benefits, man.
That's right.
You don't get no rewards. You don't get nothing. Why? Because we're serving our enemies. You should be so pissed off at serving your enemies that you say, you know what, damn this, I'm going to serve the Lord because I don't want to serve these other nations no more. You should be so mad at the Chinese, man, beating up black women in the hair shops that you say, I'm going to serve the Lord because I can't have these people ruling over us.
That's right.
We should be so mad at these other nations. And by you being mad at these other nations, what would that make you do? Serve the Lord, man. And then that will get us out of this position that we're in. That will get us out of this slavery. We won't be working on 9-5 for some peanuts. We won't be oppressed. We won't have to turn on Facebook and see that we're being murdered by the police for no reason. We won't have to see that we're getting 30 years in jail for a crime that you shouldn't even carry that long of a sentence. But when you're living under your oppressor, it's his rules and his laws, and he calls the shots. And he's dealt with us horribly here, man. And we need to serve the Lord if we want it to stop. Go ahead.
Come. In a land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger.
Listen, man, we've got the Lord mad, man. We've kindled a fire, man. The Lord's angry with us, man. The Lord's angry with us. Why? Because of how we live in, how we treat one another, our everyday life, our sinful lifestyle. The Lord is angry with us, man. The reason we in this land right now is why? Because the Lord is angry with us. The reason we oppressed and in jail and so forth and dying, why? Is because the Lord is angry with us. And we're meant to be here as a punishment. We under these nations as a punishment because we're better than them. But us being under them is meant to make us say, you know what? A black man is never supposed to be under white people, man.
That's right.
A black and Hispanic man is never supposed to be under Chinese people and Arabs and so forth. We're supposed to look at life and be like, damn, how has it become that we've become the bottom of the barrel, man? We've become the lowest of the low. We ain't supposed to be under these other races. The Lord put us here and put us under them so we can see where we went wrong and then turn it around and make it right. But it seems like we're here and we're just happy to be here, man.
That's right.
Seems like we feel happy in this condition. Like you speak to most black people and they just want to get by. They just say, boy, I just want to work and live. There's more to life than that, man. Imagine you just want to go through your whole life as a slave, just go to work and live. Nah, man. The thing is this, we want every black and Hispanic man free, man. We want every black and Hispanic sister free. We don't want you to be nobody's slave, man. We don't want no other nation ruling over you and oppressing you. We want you to what? Rule, man. And the thing is this, we've been broken down for so long that our people's become discouraged, that they just see themselves as slaves. The most we want to be is equal. Imagine, all we want is equality. In here, we don't want equality, man. We want to be better than the white man, man.
That's right.
We want to be better than all these other nations. We don't want equality, man. Who wants equality with all these other races? We want to be better than them, man.
Right.
We want to tell them to go and they must go. We want to tell them to come and they must come. We ain't on all of this. Oh, we all can be equal. We can all rule together. We can all get along. No, man. How it's supposed to be is we supposed to rule over them. By us saying we want to be equal with them shows how destroyed we are, man. Read on.
For thou hast kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord.
Listen, man. We've kindled a fire in the Lord's anger, which shall burn forever. Now, look, literally, it doesn't mean forever. It just means for a long time. You know how black people talk. This is a black man's book, so when it says forever, you're probably thinking it means forever and ever and ever, but it doesn't. So I can say that again.
People that eat too much, people say, "Yo, you're forever hungry, man."
Yeah, exactly. It don't literally mean forever. It's like when a black man's waiting on someone and he goes, "Oh, I've been waiting forever." It don't literally mean forever. It just means for a long time. That's all it means, man. But drop that. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 45. And also, any questions, just type them in and we'll get to them. So in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 45.
Deuteronomy 28 and 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
And all these curses have come upon us, man. These curses have come upon us. Why? Because we didn't want to serve the Lord. So now, we cursed, man. All these curses is upon us. And how do you get these curses off of you? By serving the Lord, man. Now, if you don't serve the Lord, these curses are going to stay upon you, and you're going to keep doing what you're doing until one day judgment is at your door, man. Until one day you don't make it home. Until one day you go jail for life. Until one day your judgment catches up with you, man. Your punishment catches up with you. These curses overtaken. Listen, man. Based off you growing up, man, you've seen so much people die or go to jail. Now, why would you want to go down that same route? You're supposed to see that and be like, I don't want that for my life, man. Imagine as a father, man, you die and you don't make it home to your kids, man. Imagine you get shot or stabbed and the last thing going through your mind is my kids are going to grow up without me, man. If you really loved your kids, you would stop selling drugs, man. If you really loved your mother and your father and your family, you would stop being a criminal, man. You would stop being those things. You would serve the Lord, man. Why? Because you want to live. So you would do what the Lord says, man, so you can live and so forth. Like by you doing those things and then you die, and guess what happens? It don't just stop once you're dead, because now your children grow up without a father. Your children grow up without a father, man. And then growing up without a father is rough. Imagine no one's there to what? Give you counsel on anything, man. You ain't got no father to come to your school assemblies and so forth, man. You see everybody else's father around them, and everyone's like, what happened to your dad? Oh, I didn't know him. He died when I was 3. Of course, you're going to be distraught and heartbroken, man. And then what happens? We grow up a certain way. And then the way we grow up is, yo, ain't nobody ever loved me. My mom tried their best, but it wasn't good enough. My dad's dead. I'm underachieving in school. I'm from a race of people who don't produce nothing good. All them things is going to be on your mind. And then before you know it, you're just like, you know what? There's only one route for me. The only route for me is to live fast and die young, man. And it happens, man. Not realizing that there's an other way, man. Not realizing if you've grown up without a father, you can battle, man. You can come into the I.S.U.P.K where you get many fathers, man. Many fathers. The Lord said what? He's a father to the fatherless, man.
That's right.
So you ain't never fatherless. Now, you're thinking, you know what? My dad got killed and that's the end of it. Understand this, man. You come into the I.S.U.P.K, man. There's men in here that will raise you like you're their own son, man. You will be their son. They'll raise you exactly like you're their son, man. You don't have to do things on your own and sit in the cupboard all alone and cry your eyes out every day and feel like you got no family. Listen, man. This is your family right here, man.
That's right.
This is your family right here. But outside of here, you ain't taught that. You're just taught, you know what? Someone killed your father. You got nobody. Go do and go be a menace to society. Whereas in here, man, you're taught the right way, man. You're taught how to battle everything, man. You're taught how to deal with every situation and so forth. Read on.
Moreover, these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee.
And these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee. And these curses have pursued us, man. Why? Because this was written thousands of years ago. And these curses still follow us today, man.
That's right.
These curses still apply to us today in 2021. These curses still apply to us. Go ahead.
And overtake thee.
And what?
Overtake thee.
Now, overtake means, listen, wherever you try to go, man, these curses is right ahead of you, man. These curses is there on time ahead of you, man. You ain't going to escape these curses. You thinking, you know what? I can move out to the suburbs. I can move here. I can move there. It don't work that way, man. And listen, man. When them race riots kick off, you're going to realize that the ghetto's the safest place, man.
That's right.
Because you're amongst your own people. You moving out to the suburbs thinking them white people love you. They don't love you. Listen, man. Imagine you're in a white neighborhood. Listen, man. You might be their favorite nigga for now. For now, you're their favorite nigga. Until them race riots kick off, man. And they all surround your house and burn crosses on your lawn and hang gollywogs all outside your house like in that series called Them. Listen, man. That's what happens in the suburbs. They don't want you living there. They would rather what? A white person live there, because once you move to them places, you make the value on other houses go down. And this is why what you will find is once people start moving into certain areas, white people start moving out of them because they know, you know what, the value on the house goes down and so forth. So they don't want you moving to they don't want you moving to Little Aston and then the value on their 750k house goes down because you've lived there. They'd rather run you out, man. They don't want you living amongst them. These curses pursue us, man. The only way for us to stop these curses is for us to serve the Lord and come in the I.S.U.P.K, man. This has been being said from 1969. Maybe if we started listening, man, most people on the street would know they're Israelite and they're God's chosen people. But most of us do what? Reject the knowledge. Now, by you coming into the truth, you don't just save your own life, you also save many brothers' lives, man. Because people see you come in, and some people will follow you in, man. Some people see you come in and see the change in you and be like, you know what? He was on road just like I was, man. I thought there was no way that I could change my life. But seeing him change his life shows there's hope, man. That's right. You can be the hope for someone. But by you not coming in here, man, you're just allowing everybody else to be out there and be criminals. You coming in here, you could listen, you could be stronger than someone that's looking at you, man. Someone who's looking at you as the man, and they see you coming here. They might be like, well, damn, he used to shoot people, and look, look what he's doing now. I can change my life. He used to be a drug dealer, but he's not a drug dealer no more. I'm gonna follow what he's following. That can change their life. But by you saying, you know what, you're not coming in, you're just allowing more children to be drug dealers, more children to be murderers. Like, you need to take the stand first, man. Now, if you step up, other people step up behind you, man. Other people step up behind them, and then we'll take all of our brothers out the world. We'll get all our brothers out the world and get them in the truth, man. That's the mission. That's the plan, to get all our people out the world so they don't die so young. Read on.
Khan, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken not.
And now we are destroyed people. We destroyed as could be, man. Go ahead.
Because thou hearken not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments.
Actually, jump to verse 54.
Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother.
These are the curses we're under, man. The man that is delicate and tender among you, his eye shall be evil towards his brother. Meaning what? One time brothers would see each other, man. Never met each other, but would have a common understanding. Yo, we both black. Just do that head nod. Just to do a head nod. Now we hate one another, man. Do you know how horrible it is to stab someone? Listen, man. You know when you stab someone, depending where you stab them, you can feel the knife hitting the bone, man. You can feel the knife hitting the bone. You can hear the flesh ripping, man. How much hatred do you have to have in you for you to be able to do that to another black man, man? Over nothing. For you to stab your brother over nothing, man. How much hatred do you have to have in you, man? And we need to break the cycle. And this is why we need to raise our kids right. Tell them, look, man, stop walking around with these zombie knives. That's what they like to call them, zombie knives. We need to tell our children, stop walking around with these zombie knives and so forth. But if we ain't telling our children, what's going to happen? They're going to go and take somebody else's life. Why? Because we ain't been raising them right. We just leave them to their own devices. We don't teach them about the dangers. We don't teach them about what they should be doing. We just see them as, oh yeah, my child is innocent. He can't do no wrong. He can't do no wrong. We need to start chastising our kids when they do wrong, man. So why? So once they get older, they don't get headstrong and think they can do whatever they want, man. You need to bow down their neck from a youth so they don't get to an age where they can think, you know what? I can just kill anyone that gets in my way. I can rob anyone that gets in my way. I can harm anyone that gets in my way. Because that's how we live, man. I can harm anyone that gets in my way. Kill anyone that gets in my way. When we ain't supposed to live like that. Go ahead.
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the
towards the wife of his bosom, man. Towards his woman, man. Go ahead.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
And towards the what?
Remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
And towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, man. Children he don't care about, don't want to take care of, hates them, has them and says, I ain't looking after them, this and that, man. Towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So what happens? These children grow up fatherless. So now, because he hates his woman, he's done left there. And now she's pregnant, she has a child, and because this man's left, this child grows up fatherless. What do you think is going to become of that child in this day and age? What do you think is going to become of that child? That child's going to be like, well, my dad left, he didn't love me, nobody loves me. And then once they grow up, man, they're going to be on all sorts of madness. Like, it starts from here, man. Like most children get messed up based off what? How they've been raised, the parents, growing up with one parent missing. Because all children need their father, man. Children need their mother also. Now, we've grown up without our parents, man, without our fathers. So what do you think is going to become of us? Unless you find this truth and you grow up without your father, you just see it as, you know what? The only route is criminal. The only route is murderer. My father never loved me. My mom tells me she hates me. I look like my dad. My parents hate each other. They're at each other's throats every day. I've seen my father beat my mom. I've seen my father abuse my mom. I've seen my mom say niggas ain't shit all day. All they do is fight, argue, they hate each other. And then what happens? You grow up and then you start to hate your partner, man. If you're a woman, you grow up hating men. If you're a man, you grow up hating women. And then the cycle goes on and on and on based off what you've seen, man. This is why we need to break the cycle, man, and love one another and be in loving relationships where our children can see mother and father, man. Mother and father. My mom obeys my father's orders. That way your children will grow up the right way, man, with respect and so forth. But we grow up already messed up, man. Grow up, one parent's missing from the house. The other parent don't care about you. You're left to your own devices. There's no discipline. There's no order. There's no nothing. And then you grow up and then you go to jail for 30 years and what happens? Your mum cries, oh, the police took my son to jail. Oh, my son got shot. No one does. They shouldn't have shot him. Meanwhile, your mum don't know what you've been getting up to on the road. And then who gets the blame? Your father, man. It's because his father wasn't there and so forth. Whereas, how about we just be one and do things the right way, man? Read that part again.
His eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, man. Meaning these children is fatherless, whereas men is supposed to lay down the law in the house, the discipline. If the father's not there, there's no one laying down the law, because children ain't scared of their mothers like they are the father, man. The father doesn't need to shout or nothing. He just says, yo, don't do that. The child listens. With the mom, you can keep beating that child, shout. The child's just not afraid of you, man. The child's just not afraid of you, whereas that man, that deep voice, the Lord done it that way for a reason, man. The Lord put that man in charge for a reason. Like, a man's meant to lay down the law and the discipline in the house. But without the father there, the mother tries to do it and it doesn't work. It don't work one bit, man. Go ahead.
Verse 55, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat.
Listen, man. This man don't want them kids, man. Chasing his dreams means more to him than them kids, man. Chasing other whores means more to him than them kids, man. Chasing that rap career, being the biggest drug dealer, means more to him than them kids. Go ahead.
Because he have nothing left him in the siege.
And this right here is talking about 70 AD, but obviously it's manifold, which means you can flip it many ways. Go ahead.
And in the straightness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates.
And this is talking about when the Romans did what? Come past Jerusalem, and we wouldn't come out of the houses and whatnot. And what happens over time? You run out of food, you run out of resources. And then they resorted to what? Eating their children, man. Why? Because they ran out of everything. I believe it ties in what's his name now? What's that nigga's name now? Josephus, that was eating their leather belts and stuff, man. Was eating their leather belts and stuff. That's how rough it got. Imagine you're in a house and you've run out of food and everything. So then they resorted to what? Eating their children, man. And you tell me we must trust our oppressor that would have you eat your children, man. It was either you would stay in the house and he would starve you out, you would starve to death, or you would come outside and he would just kill you. He would just kill you, man. Just hit you with an arrow or spear or whatever. So they did what? Was in the house. Obviously, their children died of starvation. So then they what? Ate their children because they was starving and hungry and all of those kind of things. Whereas if we serve the Lord, man, we wouldn't be in that situation where you even have to think to do that.
That's right.
If we serve the Lord, we wouldn't be in no type of situation where we would even think that we have to do those things, man. And listen, man, guess what? If we don't serve the Lord, these things could come right back around again, man.
That's right.
These things could come right back around again if we don't serve the Lord, man. How about we serve the Lord to avoid all of that? Go ahead.
Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which should not adventure to set her sole of her foot.
Now, one time our women was tender and delicate, man. They wouldn't even walk and put their foot on the floor, man. They was tender and delicate and loving, man. Tender, delicate, loving, right. Everything, man. Everything was in order. Once upon a time, the men was in order. We had brotherhood. We had any issues. What would we do? Take it to council instead of taking it to the street. But now we take it to the street with weapons. Go ahead.
Calm. Sakya. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set her sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
Her what?
Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
And her eye is evil towards her man now. Once upon a time, she was tender and delicate and shamefaced. And now she's evil towards her husband, man. Child support, man. You can't see the kids. You ain't seen the kids unless you pay me. We've become horrible to each other. We've become monsters towards one another. Imagine, we're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be one. We're supposed to get along, man. Why? Because we're brothers and sisters, man. We're supposed to love one another because we're brothers and sisters. But now we treat each other like strangers. We don't look at each other like we're family. So we just look at each other like, you're garbage and I'm garbage. So I'm garbage and you're garbage. And that's why we treat each other like garbage, man. When we're supposed to look at each other like brothers and sisters and have each other's back, man. Why do we need to go to our oppressor for child support, man? Why do we need to go to him? We don't need to go to him, man. We can handle our problems in-house. The thing is, he laughs at your problems. And then what he does is, the way he solves your problems is by what? Making the situation worse for the both of you, man. Like what they do is they don't fix the situation. Used to will still be at loggerheads after that, man. After you take your husband to court, used to will still hate each other, man. After you say, I'm not gonna let you see the kids unless it's in a controlled environment. Now, if the man's not violent, why does he need to be in a controlled environment, man? Why? Just because you don't like him. So now you're telling a man, giving a man an ultimatum. You can only see your kids if you meet me at this center every Saturday for 2 hours. What if this man wants to take his kid out, man? Listen, man, we've done fell a long way, whereas a man can't even take his kid out. Nowadays, as a man, if you've got a child with a woman, you can't say, you know what, I'm taking my child on a holiday, unless she gives you the approval, man. If she don't give you the approval, understand you ain't taking that child nowhere, man.
That's right.
And that's how sad it is, man, that it's your child and you want to play an active role in this child's life, but depending on what type of woman you got, you don't get to play a role. Go ahead.
It's mad. If you got a woman and you and her broke up, like she can have the new man all around the kid.
Exactly.
But you can't.
Right.
She just be like, you get that call, I don't want my child around that bitch. Or you ain't seen them again, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you have to put up with a man walking topless in your house around your kids. Exactly.
And if you got a daughter, damn, and she's got next men all up in the house, listen, man, and you can't say nothing about it. You have to shut your mouth, man. It's bothering you, but you can't say nothing about it. Because if you say anything about it, she's just gonna what? Well, you're not seeing the child this week. Now they use the child as a weapon, man. Why? Because they read that verse again.
Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
They what?
the husband of her bosom.
Their eyes shall be evil towards the husband of their bosom, man. Meaning now we've become evil towards one another. So everything we do is what? Based off us plotting evil and thinking how we can destroy one another. And it works, man. We destroy one another. Go ahead.
Come. And toward her son, and toward her daughter.
And towards her what?
Her son, and toward her daughter.
And towards her son, and towards her daughter. So now, the parents are evil towards the children. So how do you think the children are going to grow up, man? You think these children is going to grow up perfect? You think these children is going to grow up, yeah, we're going to go union, graduate, and do everything right? No, man. We grow up as what? Our daughters then grow up as whores, man. Why? Because they've never been loved. So they want love, and then they think love is what? Having sex with every man they meet. They think love is having sex with every man they meet because they've never been loved, and they're thinking, you know what? He showed me a bit of interest. If I have sex with him, he's going to love me. And then what happens? Men play on that, and men know, you know what? She's had no father in her life. She's vulnerable. So they will tell her all the right things, have sex with her, and then leave her. Then she meets another man. He does the same thing. She meets another man. He does the same thing. And then after that, she wants to be a lesbian because she's been used by so much men. Why? Because her parents was evil. Her parents was evil towards her, man. They didn't show her the right way. They didn't raise her the right way. Her father left, so she already don't like men. She's heard her mother speak bad about men. She's already in her mind, men ain't no good. Then a few men have used her. Then she's like, you know what? I'm not doing no more, men. And that's why every other internet post is niggas ain't shit. Or with men, a man will grow up, his parents treated him bad. What does he want to do? Become a criminal. Turns to drugs. Why? Because he doesn't see no other way out. He don't see no other way out of this cycle. He just sees it as my parents was horrible towards me. They put me in care. I was abused when I was abused when I was younger. I went through this. I went through that. And then what happens? Them demons come, man. Them demons come. And then them demons do what? Have you feeling sorry for yourself, man? Them demons come. Have you starting to feel pity for yourself? And then what did them demons say to you? Take drugs, it will make everything better, man. Take weed and block it all out. Once the weed don't touch you no more, smoke crack, it will block it all out. So why? Because you grew up at a disadvantage, how most of us grow up, you don't see no other way out. So all you see is, you know what? Alcohol, pills, drugs, and then you do those things, man. And the truth is, you see doing those things, it don't fix the situation, man. You have to stand on your 2 feet and battle, man. That's what you have to do. You have to come in here, stand on your 2 feet and battle. Now, if you don't battle, what's going to happen? You're going to be an alcoholic that succumbed to the disadvantages that you went through, that gave up, that became a drug addict because you couldn't cope. Now, taking drugs doesn't fix the problem, man. It don't make the situation, it don't make the problem go away. That's just the demons in your head telling you take this easy way out. And demons want you to take drugs, man. Whereas you're supposed to fight, man, and come in the I.S.U.P.K. where people will never abuse you, man. Where you come in here, man, you will never be abused again, man. You will never be treated like garbage again. You will never be used again. All them things that you went through, you'll never have to face them on your own again, man. Why? Because you got brothers and sisters that's right there with you. Go ahead.
Come. And toward her young one that cometh out between her feet.
And towards a young one that cometh out between her feet, man. Meaning them children, man. They hate them kids now. They have them babies. Some people even leave them in Tesco's, man. Was it Sainsbury's or Tesco the other day? Sainsbury's. Someone left a baby in Sainsbury's, man, a newborn, and so forth. Go ahead.
That cometh between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for the one of all things.
And then she gets rid of them in the one of all things, man. Why? Because she wants to live her best life and have a hot girl summer. She wants to have a hot girl summer where what? She sleeps with a load of men all summer. And listen, man, understand this. Half the things you do in your youth will come back to haunt you later in life, man. Imagine in your youth, you've done slept with 20 men, and then now you meet a man that appears to be the man of your dreams. Imagine just having casual sex with different men because you know it's fun. It's fun and it's something to do and it passes the time. And then one day you do meet a man you want to settle down with. And then imagine he's related to one of the men that you've slept with in the past, man. He's related to two of the men you slept with in the past. Now your past is going to come back to haunt you, man. You're going to say to him, oh, but that was in the past. And he might be like, nah, I can't do it. It's, listen, man, before you do anything, man, think about it, man. Think hard and deep. Is this worth it? Does this make sense? That's what you need to do, man. Go ahead.
For she shall eat them for the want of all things,
Go ahead.
secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates.
And same thing they had to do. They had to eat their babies also in 70 AD, man. Why? Because they was distressed and starved in, and it was either you stay in and live for a little bit, or you come out and you die, get killed by the Romans. These is the ones that didn't flee into West Africa. So the rest heard the warning from Christ and said, you know what? They're going to flee. So them ones flee, lived in West Africa for like, 1,000 years or something before they got, before the Judites got taken to Nigeria. I believe the Haitians got taken to Senegal. No, I mean, the Haitians got taken from Senegal to Haiti and so forth. It was called something else back then. And then the Benjamites, most of them got taken from Ghana, is it what? The Gold Coast. From Ghana, the Gold Coast, and so forth. There's a map where it will show you where most of them got their slaves from and then where they transported them, and so forth. But go ahead.
If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of the law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, and the plague as are even great.
And it says the plagues wonderful and the plagues of thy seed, man. Meaning what? Our children that ain't yet born yet, man. Once they born, they're gonna experience these curses and these plagues, man. They're gonna experience this hardship. And this is why we die more than everybody else, man. Why? Because these plagues and these curses, man, which stick to our parents. And because we follow in our parents' footsteps, what happens? These plagues then stick to us, man. Whereas we could break the cycle by doing the right thing. But drop that. Give me Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 7.
Lamentations 5 and 7. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquity.
Listen, man, our fathers sinned and they're dead now. And we've carried their iniquities, man. And imagine the same thing that they was doing, that they taught to us, we now doing. So we need to break the cycle, man. Drop that. Give me Colossians chapter 3 and verse 21. We need to break the cycle, man. And how do you break it? By being in here, man. By sitting up in here and learning, man. Learning what to do, what not to do, how to raise your kids, how not to raise your kids. That's how you break the cycle. Go ahead.
Colossians 3:21. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged.
Lest the what?
They be discouraged.
And listen, man, we've been provoked to anger, and we are what? Discouraged, man. That's what every Black and Hispanic child outside the truth is, discouraged, man. You see all these kids that grow up to become criminals, they've just been discouraged, man. Meaning what? We need to give our young Black men and our young Black daughters courage, man. We need to give them back that courage that they're lacking, because they're discouraged. They see the world how we see it, man. Imagine being 4 years old and being called a Black Joe, being called a nigger and a gollywog. And imagine, man, being so young that you don't know what racism is. Imagine you're so young and everybody's calling you black this, black that, and you don't understand. You're just a child, man. And then you grow up one day and then you ask your parents, Mommy, why do they keep calling me nigger? And your parents can't give you an answer, man. All they say is, oh, ignore them. Listen, man. This is what we need to teach them, that the white man is the devil, the Bible speaks of, man. We need to teach them that and stop taking a soft approach. Obviously, you don't want to teach them that when they're too young, because they will go to school and say, and you get me. So obviously, you want to wait until they're of age to understand. Like, you want to use wisdom with everything. You don't want to just teach them that at 3 years old, and then you're picking them up at school and the teacher saying, this is what he said today. You want to use wisdom in it. So imagine you're watching movies, your people are slaves. People's calling you a slave. People's telling you, don't worry, you're going to be dead by the time you're 25. And then you're looking at it like, you know what? Well, my father died when he was about 25, so that sounds about right. You think you're going to start making lifelong plans? You think you're going to start planning? You ain't going to do nothing, man. You're just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to live fast and I'm going to die young, because it's my destiny to die young, man. And these is children who's discouraged. But the thing is this, man. The Lord's made a way for you, man. The I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
The Lord's left a little sanctuary for you where you can get courage, man. Where you can get the truth. Where you don't have to die young. Where you don't have to live the life and go down the path that many of our parents went down.
Right.
Many of our cousins went down. There's a new way, man. Read that one more time.
Come on. Colossians 3.
3 and 21.
21. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Servants, obey.
It says, lest they be discouraged. Drop that, give me Lamentations 4 and 1. So it says, lest they be discouraged, man. And we, discouraged, man. Our children are discouraged. This is why we don't want to do nothing in school. This is why we fall behind and don't want to do nothing. We just be like, you know what? And we know it's a white man's world. Now, if only we knew the truth, we would handle a lot of situations better, man. If we knew exactly who we was, we would understand, you know what? We the real royalty and not Prince Philip, man. We would understand. Imagine Prince Philip want to do some 2-minute silence for him on Saturday and so forth. Whereas black people die and we don't get nothing, man.
That's right.
Nothing at all. When we the real royalty, we the real royal family, if only we knew that, maybe we would start acting like it. And we need to start acting like it, man. And then if we start acting like it now, guess what? Our children will start acting like it. Their children will start acting like it. And then before you know it, we'll be the royal family, man. Everyone will know who the real royal family is. Give me Lamentations 4 and 1.
Lamentations 4 and 1. How has the gold become dim?
How's the what?
How has the gold become dim?
That's us, man. We that gold, man. We the Lord's gold. And we've become dim. Meaning we've lost that shine, man. We've lost that shine, man. We've gone from what? Kings and priests to what? Just niggas in the ghetto now, man. Just murderers. Child molesters, all of those disgusting things that our oppressor is, man. We do the same things that he does when we ain't supposed to. Says, how's the gold become dim? Go ahead.
And how is the most fine gold changed?
We that fine gold, man. And we've changed. Why? Because we ain't asking for them old paths. We want to be on some new paths. It says, how is the fine gold? How's the fine gold changed? Go ahead.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Imagine, man. These stones is meant to be in the sanctuary, man. These precious stones is meant to be in the sanctuary. These precious stones is meant to be where? In the land of Israel, man. The land of Israel, living good. And now they're poured out in the top of every street. Now they're poured out in Handsworth. Now they're poured out in Aston.
That's right.
Now they're poured out in Lazals. Now there's all these shootings on the news. All these stabbings on the news. Because why? We poured out on the top of every street, man, when we're meant to be in the sanctuary. Go ahead.
The precious sons of Zion.
And we're so precious that we're comparable to fine gold. Go ahead.
Comparable to fine gold.
Meaning this is the best type of gold. You see, like you got 9-karat gold, 24-karat gold. This is the best type of gold, fine gold. Not just any gold. This ain't no Indian gold and none of that nonsense. This is fine gold, the best type of gold, man. Meaning we the best type of people, comparable to fine gold.
That's right.
And you know how precious gold is, man. Listen, man. Gold's so precious that people got gold bars in the vault, man. They got gold bars in their vote, which costs 100 grand and so forth, man. We're more precious than them gold bars they've got in the vote, man. Like they protect them gold bars because they're precious. And we need to start looking at every other black man like his fine gold.
That's right.
We will understand that he's precious. So we would protect him and not harm him, man. We treating him like he's not precious. Like you see how you wouldn't just throw gold away. That's how we dispose of a black man's life like he's just nothing, man. We throw our lives away like it's nothing. We throw our women's lives away like they're nothing, man. When they're comparable to fine gold, man. Now, fine gold is something precious that you protect and that you take care of because it's of high value. Now, we've become like we ain't got no value. We've become like we ain't got no value or nothing, man. Read on.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
We've changed from fine gold to earthen pitchers, man, which is near enough nothing, which is something of no value, man. We treat a black man's life like it's just, a cup that you throw away. We treat a black man's life like it's a piece of clay that you just throw down and break it, and who cares? That's how we treat a black man's life. When we should treat a black man's life and a black woman's life, Hispanic man and Hispanic woman's life, like the fine gold, man. Precious. Go ahead.
The work of the hands of the potter.
Go ahead.
Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel.
The daughter of what?
My people is become cruel.
The Lord said the daughter of his people is become cruel, man. Cruel to their children, man. Cruel. Go ahead.
Like the ostriches in the wilderness.
Like the ostriches in the wilderness, because why? The ostriches is known for what? Giving birth and crushing their eggs, man, and going about their business. The Lord said that our women have become like the ostriches in the wilderness. Go ahead.
The tongue of the tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst.
Meaning these children ain't being fed, and this is us, man. We them children who's grown up poor, who's starving, who's hungry, who ain't got clothes, who ain't got nothing. But guess what? That don't give you the right to go rob somebody, man. Just because you've grown up at a disadvantage like that, it doesn't give you the right to go and rob a black man, man. It doesn't give you the right to go rob and steal and harm your own people or harm anyone like that. It don't give you the right, man. Even though that was your condition that you grew up in. Go ahead.
Come. The young children ask for bread, and no man breaketh it unto them.
And listen, man, this is why we grow up robbing people. Why? Because we ask for bread, and no man breaks it off to us, man. Bread meaning food, money, etc. Now, this ain't no excuse for us to rob people, man. We see it as, we're poor, so we're gonna rob and steal. When we ain't supposed to rob and steal, man. You're supposed to hit up the I.S.U.P.K. We have a food drive, man. The Bible says food and raiment, be content, man. You hit up the I.S.U.P.K. if you need food. You don't need to go rob nobody.
That's right.
You don't need to go rob and steal. Because understand this, man. Every action, there's a reaction. So you do something to someone, they're going to do something to you. And then it's an ongoing feud, man. Imagine you sell drugs to someone. Why? So you can feed your kids. And you're selling drugs to a black man who's buying them drugs off you because he's trying to escape from some struggles that he's going through. And then he dies of a drug overdose, leaving his kids. And then his kids find out you're the one that sold him the drugs. And then they've got an issue with you. And it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Just understand this, man. You're selling drugs to feed your kids. And the man who's buying the drugs off you is buying them drugs so he can escape what he's gone through in life, man. You should be like, yo, I'm going through something and you're going through something. How about we sit down and reason together? But you're looking at it like, yo, let me sell him drugs because I need to feed my kids. And this man's looking at it like, yo, I'm buying drugs because I need to escape my reality. And he's trying to escape a reality that what? The life that he grew up, his parents and so forth, probably was on drugs. His father probably got killed or his father left his life. Like it all leads to something, man. All the oppression that we go through leads to something. And then we go around in circles. One man's on drugs because he can't cope with life. Another man's selling him drugs because why? He grew up poor. It all comes from our oppressor, man.
That's right.
You grew up poor because of the oppressor. This man's buying drugs. Why? Because of the oppressor. And what we use in these situations to harm one another, man. When we supposed to use this and come together, man. I'm like, you know what? We ain't gonna let him get in between us no more.
That's right.
We ain't gonna let him destroy us no more. That's what we're supposed to do. But obviously, we don't do that. Read on.
They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets.
One time we was fed delicate, man. Now we're desolate in the streets, man. Go ahead.
They that were brought up in scarlet
Listen,
embrace dunghills.
They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills, man. We embrace Handsworth and Newtown like it's anything, and it's a dunghill, man.
That's right.
It's a shithole, man. And we're fighting over that. Some rat-infested dunghill, man. Listen, man. This is the thing. We fighting over things that we shouldn't be fighting over. Go ahead.
For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of a people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom.
And listen, man, our punishment is greater than the sin of Sodom, man. Imagine seeing people that you grow up with getting killed, man. Imagine growing up with one parent missing, man. Growing up with family, growing up with kids that you don't get to see. Our punishment is a heavy punishment, man. But there's a way out. One second, let me see what we're gonna get now. Give me 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 57.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, 2nd Ezra. That's what I need, the one verse here. So what we go through in life, man, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna fight or are you gonna quit, man? There's only two options. It's either you go to war or you don't go to war. Which one do you do? By you not going to war is you taking the drugs. You becoming an alcoholic.
That's right.
That's what you do when you don't go to war with your demons. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 7 and 57. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle.
Listen, man. Everything that you went through growing up, what did the Bible say?
This is the condition of the battle.
Everything that you went through growing up, man, this is the condition of the battle. What you went through, that condition that you went through, this is the condition of your battle, man. You need to battle that condition. Like, don't take the easy way out, buying drugs and taking drugs, becoming an alcoholic, becoming a homosexual. This is the condition of the battle, meaning what? You need to go to war, man. You need to overcome that battle and overcome that condition that you grew up in, man. I read that one more time.
Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle.
And everything you went through in life, man, you losing your father young, you growing up in care, you going through some horrible traumatic stuff that you shouldn't go through. What did the Bible say? Read that again.
This is a condition of the battle.
That's the condition of the battle, man. This is your battle, man. And if you come in the I.S.U.P.K, you don't fight that battle alone, man. You see how that demon's got legions. Listen, man, you got legions of brothers, man.
That's right.
That will help you fight them demons. Ain't you fighting by yourself? Drop that. Give me John chapter 3 and verse 5. That's the condition of the battle, man. Your parents treated you horribly. You don't feel like you deserved it. You was beaten, traumatized, went through some trauma. Listen, man, that's the condition of the battle, man. Go ahead.
John 3 and 5. Jesus answered, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
Go ahead.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh.
Meaning that which is born of the flesh is flesh. Meaning what? You just come from your parents, your mother and your father. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. So you just come from your mother and your father. So if your father ain't in your life, man, don't worry. If your mother ain't in your life, don't worry. Because you come in here, man, you get spiritual brothers, spiritual everything, man. You get everything you could need. Read on.
And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit.
Now you came from them from the flesh, but now that which is born of the Spirit is spirit, man. Meaning, guess what? You come in here. You have fathers, man. You have mothers. Your family want to cut you off because you want to be in the truth. You have family, man. You have brothers that will never that will never forsake you, man. Why? Because they're bound by the law that they can't forsake you.
That's right.
Whereas those that which is flesh. They just do whatever's good to them. They'll rob you, they'll use you, they'll abuse you, they will cause you to go through some kind of trauma. Whereas in here, that which is born of spirit is spirit. They won't make you go through no trauma, man. They won't harm you. They won't treat you bad and wrong and so forth. Go ahead.
Marvel not that I say unto you, ye must be born
Actually,
again.
no, I have to drop this for time's sake. Give me Romans chapter 8 and verse 5. It says, that which is born of flesh is flesh, man. Meaning, you just come at your mother and your father and do whatever they tell you to do. Do whatever seems right. But that which is born of spirit is what? Spirit, man. You become spiritual. You get spiritual brothers and so forth. Now, when I say spiritual brothers, don't think invisible and all of those kind of things. That's a Christian term. Christians believe you can be a spiritual Israelite, which is nonsense. Spiritual Israelite is just a nigga that keeps the law, man. That's all it is. Go ahead. Israelite that keeps the law. That's all it is. Go ahead.
Romans 8 and 5. For they that are after the flesh do the things of the flesh.
So now, if your family's treating you like garbage, man, understand this. They're after the flesh and they do the things of the flesh, man. Of course, your mom's going to leave you at home alone because she wants to go out and strip so she can buy a Gucci bag. Those after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Of course, your father's not going to want to be in your life because his rap career is more important, or he just can't be asked. Of course, family members is going to put drugs before you. Why? Because for they that are after the flesh, do mind the things after the flesh. Go ahead. And things after the flesh is what? Whatever makes you feel good.
That's right.
Whatever makes you feel like, this feels good. Whether it be drugs, being an alcoholic, and being whatever kind of sinner you want to be. As long as it feels good, that's what's after the flesh is. Go ahead.
But they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit.
And once you're after the spirit, you mind the things of the spirit, man. Meaning you care about the laws of God. You can't go rob no black man. You can't go harm and kill and murder and be a thief because you mind the things after the spirit, man. Go ahead.
For to be carnally minded is death.
And this is why we die so much, because why? We carnally minded, man. We just think, what? Rob, kill, steal, destroy. We carnally minded. To be carnally minded is death. And this is why we're seeing our loved ones drop dead. Why? Because they're carnally minded, man. Doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Go ahead.
But to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
But what?
But to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
Listen, man, you come in here, man, and get life and peace, man. You come in here and serve the Lord. You get life and peace. No matter what you've gone through, man, you come in here, guess what? You will get peace. Like we said, you pick up that weed. Why? Because you're trying to escape what happened to you. You're trying to get peace, and you're never going to get peace from them drugs, man.
That's right.
You're never going to get peace from being an alcoholic. You're never going to get peace from being a criminal. But once you come in here, you get life and peace, man. You be at peace with yourself, man. That's how you get life and peace. You don't get it by consuming drugs. You don't get it by seeking attention and doing everything that you're not supposed to do. You don't get it by being a whore and having sex with 1 million men. But you get life and peace by what? Coming in here, man, and serving the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then,
read that part again.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God.
Why? The carnal mind is not subject to the law of God, meaning, of course, family members and people in the world are going to treat you bad. Because why? The carnal mind don't submit to the law of God. It doesn't have to keep the law of God. A man who's not in the truth doesn't care about the law of God. So if you leave £1 million there, you can just take it, man. You can just take it without thinking twice. If he's hungry and he wants to steal, he can just steal. Why? Because he don't care about the law of God, man. Because he's a carnal man. Go ahead.
Neither indeed can be. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God.
They that in the flesh cannot please God, meaning what? A man that does what feels good to him. You can't please God that way, man. Go ahead. A man that ain't spiritual, a man that ain't in the truth, a man that don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments can't please God. Go ahead.
But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so, be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of this.
Listen, man, you have to have the Spirit of Christ, man. Meaning what? What Christ done, we have to do, man. What did Christ do? Keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin.
Meaning if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin. Meaning what? You now live how Christ lived, man. You walk how Christ walked. So even though you're in the flesh, it's dead. Why? Because you know by you serving Christ, you can't do what your flesh wants you to do. So that body is dead. You're in the flesh, but it's dead because you don't give into its desires, man. Why? Because you're spiritual. You got the Spirit of the Lord, so you don't give into what your flesh wants, man. You don't give into pork and all of that stuff that you shouldn't be doing. Go ahead.
But the Spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the Spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Jesus from the dead.
Know what? Drop this for time's sake. Basically, that just goes on to say the Most High raised up Christ, and it's going to raise us up the same way. And us who serve the Most High, and follow what Christ did with the sons of God, and so forth. But drop that for time's sake. Give me Psalms 51 and verse 1. Damn, I think I'm gonna have to finish most of this next week. But yeah, give me
Psalms 51 and 1. Have mercy upon me, O God.
Listen, man. This is what we need to do. What David did, man. We need to pray the Lord have mercy upon us. Now, like what we read earlier, that which is flesh is flesh. You just come at your parents and you do whatever your parents tell you to do. Once we find the truth, we need to pray the Lord have mercy upon us, man. Go ahead.
According to thy loving kindness.
According what?
To thy loving kindness.
And the Lord is loving and kind, man. But obviously we take his kindness for weakness, man. And then what happens? The Lord has to show us that he can just take us out just like that, man. You can be living your best life thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, and you don't make it home, man. Because why? We take his love and kindness for weakness, man. We take it for granted. Go ahead.
According unto the multitude of thy tender mercies.
According unto the multitude of thy tender mercies. Why? Because the Most High is merciful, man. The Most High is merciful if we do the right thing and we repent. So what we need to do is change our ways. That's what we should do. We should change our ways, man, and be like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to change, and, I'm never going to do that again, and so forth. Go ahead.
Blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquities, and cleanse me from my sin.
What are we supposed to say?
Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin.
That's what we should be saying, man. Wash me thoroughly and cleanse me from my sin. Meaning, this is David, man. David messed up. David's praying the Lord forgives him. This is what we should do. Understand, you know what? Our parents was wrong. Raised us wrong. So we need to be doing what? Praying like David, man. And coming to the truth. Go ahead.
For I acknowledge my transgressions.
And this is what we should do. Acknowledge our transgressions. Our parents should also acknowledge their transgressions, man. Understand where they went wrong in raising us. Understand where they went wrong along the way. And then what happens? You go wrong. You go wrong, and then pass it on to your children, and they go wrong. Then their children go wrong. So once you find out, you need to stop the cycle right there, man. Now in here, our children don't celebrate Christmas, man. They don't celebrate Christmas, Easter, birthdays. And guess what? They're just fine, man. They're just fine without that nonsense. Whereas we grew up doing what? Celebrating Christmas, Easter, all of that nonsense, transgressing the law and not even knowing why, because those are things which was passed on to us from our parents, which was passed on to them from their parents. So you have to come in and break the cycle, man, and say, you know what, I'm going to do what the Lord wants, so my children can be straight, so their children can be straight, instead of what? Going about things the wrong way. Go ahead.
and my sin is ever before me. Against thee only have I sinned, and done this evil in thy sight,
This is David praying the Lord forgives him, man, because David done messed up. Go ahead.
that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest.
Go ahead.
Behold, I was shapen in
I
iniquity.
was what?
Shapen in iniquity.
This is us, man. We were shapen in iniquity, meaning your mom's pregnant, man. She's consuming pork, smoking weed, drugs, everything. You were shapen in iniquity, and then once you was born, once you finally can eat food, what's your mom giving you? Ham sandwich, bacon butties and so forth. Giving you all of those kind of things. We were shaping in iniquity, man. Meaning your mom's pregnant. Listen, you ain't got no say. You ain't got no say whatsoever, man. You're a child and you just do what your parents tell you to do. Right. You just eat what your parents give you. All of us, every last one of us was shaping, unless your parents wasn't the truth, we were shaping in iniquity. Your mom smoking weed while she's pregnant, man, and so forth. So you come out near enough high, near enough addicted to weed, man, at birth. You come out born, your parents giving you a hit of their cigarette when you're about 5 or 6. We were shaping in iniquity. Your parents eat pork, which is linked to your umbilical cord, so you're consuming the pork and so forth. Listen, man, we were shaping in iniquity, meaning your parents is sinning, and that's once you're born, all you're seeing is them sin and sin and sin, and you just pick it up along the way. And because a baby's brain is like a sponge, they just soak up all the information, and all the information they're soaking up all seems to be sins, man. All seems to be transgressions against the Most High. And then most of us never break that cycle, man. But now, once you've found the I.S.U.P.K, you've found the place where you break that cycle. This is the place where you break that cycle, man. Go ahead.
Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me.
And listen, man, most of us was conceived in sin, man. Most of us was what? Conceived in sin, man. Listen, most of us was conceived in sin so much that we have to go on the Jeremy Carl show for a DNA test, man. That's right. We don't know if our father's our father, man. Your mom don't know who the baby belongs to. Most of us was conceived in sin, man. You know, this is a black man's book, man. Most of us was conceived in after a drunken night, man. Your mom came from the club. Some guy told her to come around to a hotel, and that guy happens to be your dad, man. That guy happens to be your dad. Listen, man. We was shaped in iniquity and conceived in sin. This is speaking about our everyday life, man. Our everyday life. Imagine, being a woman, 3 months pregnant, and you and your baby father's not even imagine that. You're 3 months pregnant, and the man you're pregnant for, you two ain't even together no more, or never was together. You ain't even together. Listen, man. Only we go through that, man. Only we go through that kind of lifestyle and that kind of living. Because why? We conceived in sin and shaping in iniquity. Go ahead. Right.
Come.
Verse 6.
Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts.
And this is what we need to ask for, man. Truth in our inward parts, meaning we want the truth to be in us, man. Like, say, for instance, you want to be walking around and you know the laws, man. Like, straight away, someone says, you want some of this spliff. The law being in your inward parts will be like, I don't smoke. That's the law in your inward parts, man. Now, there's some people that were smoking and remember afterwards, oh, shouldn't be smoking. That's you. You ain't got the law in your inward parts, man. You ain't got the truth in your inward parts. You having the truth in your inward parts means all you're giving out is the radiation that's coming out of you is the truth, man. I think there's someone at the door, you know. Someone just tried the lock. But yeah, the radiation coming out of you is the truth, man. That's what we should have. The truth in our inward parts. That's what we should have. Is it? Oh. That's what we should have, man. And only in the I.S.U.P.K, you have the truth in your inward parts, man. Let's read on. And in the hidden part, thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Meaning what? By you having the truth of the Lord, you also know wisdom. You also know wisdom, man. by you having the truth in your inward parts.
That's right.
Let's read on. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which thou hast broken may rejoice. Hide thy face from my sins, and blot out all mine iniquities. That's what we should be praying for, man. That the Lord blots out all our iniquities, man. That's what we should be praying for. But we'd rather pray that, you know, the Lord blesses us with £1 million and blesses us with all the whores and blesses us with all the drugs and so forth. When we should be doing the prayer of King David, man. That's the prayer that we should be doing. Read on verse, what verse is that? Verse 9.
Verse 9. Hide thy face from my sins and blot out mine iniquities.
And this is David praying that the Lord, what? Hides his face from his sins, man. Whereas with the oppressor that we under, man, you could what? Have a criminal record from 20 years ago. He don't never take that off your record, man.
That's right.
He don't ever take that off. That's on your record 20, 30 years later. Imagine it's still affecting your life 30 years later, man. It's on your criminal record. This is the thing, man. This man that rules over us, it shows you that he shouldn't be ruling, man.
That's right.
Because he don't know how to show mercy or nothing. Imagine you've changed your whole life. You've changed your whole life, and it's still on your criminal record. Imagine you've been to jail, you've done your time. That means it should be blotted out now, man. You've done your punishment. This man doesn't blot it out, man. He leaves it on your record and make sure you can't get no job or make sure you can't get nothing. Go ahead.
Create in me a clean heart.
David said, create me a clean mind, man. Meaning what? David wanted to what? Focus on the laws of the Lord, man. David didn't want, you know, whores on his mind, thinking, what strip club should I go today? And he wanted a clean mind, man. Clean heart, man. Meaning what? All he wanted to focus on was the Lord, and that's what we should have in our mind, man. All these the laws of the Lord. Like once you start focusing on things too much, you end up doing it, man. So if you start focusing on things that you shouldn't be doing, you end up doing it. So you need to start focusing more on what? The law of the Lord and so forth. Go ahead.
Oh God, and renew a right spirit within me.
And what?
Renew a right spirit within
He
me.
said, renew a right spirit within me, man. Meaning he asked for what? The spirit of the Lord, man. He wanted the spirit of the Lord. He wanted the spirit, like now we want the spirit of the Lord, the spirit of Christ in us, man. You see how Christ kept all them laws? That's the spirit that we want in us, man. We want a clean heart and we want a right spirit renewed within us, man. Go ahead.
Cast me not away from thy presence.
That's what we pray for, that the Lord don't cast us away from his presence, man. Because there's many people that came in this truth and the Lord's cast them away from his presence, man. Cast them away so much that now they don't, things that they used to believe, they don't even believe it no more, man. Because they've been casted away from the Lord's presence. Now people think that it's them who leaves the truth. Nah, man, it's the Lord who leaves them, man.
That's right.
People think, oh, you're leaving the Lord. It don't work that way, man. The Lord took you out of the truth, man. Go ahead.
Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation.
Read that 11 again.
Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not the Holy Spirit from me.
Because once the Lord takes the Spirit from you, you won't understand no breakdowns whatsoever, man. You won't be in the truth. You'll be out there trying to save the whole world. You'll be out there teaching John 3:16, trying to save the whole world, man. Once the Lord takes his Spirit from you, man, you need to pray the Lord don't take his Holy Spirit from you, man. Imagine one day you in here rocking and rolling in the truth, teaching the truth, and then the next day your beard shaved, you're doing everything, eating pork, smoking. The Lord's took his Holy Spirit from you, man.
That's right.
And you're thinking the Lord's still dealing with you. Imagine you're still thinking the Lord's still dealing with you and everybody in here is wrong. Imagine you think everyone in here is wrong, but you're the only one who's right. It don't make no sense. The Lord's took his Spirit from you and you ain't even got the spirit of discernment or nothing. Read on.
Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit.
Go ahead. Let's read it.
Then will I teach transgressors thy ways.
And that's what you need to do, man. Come in here so you can teach transgressors the Lord's ways, man. And then they can come in the truth and they can teach transgressors the Lord's ways and so forth. That's what you're supposed to do, man. Pray the Lord don't take his Holy Spirit from you. Pray the Lord puts the truth in your inward parts. You come in here, man, and then you can teach transgressors the Lord's ways that it's a sin to eat pork, it's a sin to smoke, it's a sin to be a criminal, and so forth. Read on.
And sinners shall be converted unto thee.
And what?
Sinners shall be converted unto thee.
And sinners shall be converted unto the Lord, man. Meaning sinners shall serve the Lord, man. Why? Because you've went and prophesied to them. You've went and taught transgressors the ways of the Most High, man. And with that, that brings us to the end of the class.
Teacher one case salute men of Israel. I'm Shabbat. I'm Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yajamata.